Welcome, friends, to the Activist Collective. For our first episode, we are going to, number one, introduce myself. My name is Jess. I live in the Mitten State, somewhere close to the Canadian border. We'll just leave it at that. Um, I have, over the last 5 years, built a platform um, on politics, educating people on how politics affects them. Um, Across all platforms, I have approximately 200,000 followers, subscribers, mutuals, friends. That's why I call this podcast and the website Activist Collective, because we are a collective of activists. And whether you want to admit it or not, friend, you are an activist. The moment you decided that you were not going to bend the knee to fascism, you became an activist, and welcome to the fray. Excuse me. I'm using the Substack for right now to record this, and I plan to change my I don't even know what you call it, the source for where I record these, and then I'll upload them to this location. But for right now, I really wanted to get this out to you guys. I want you to know that what's happening in this country is not normal. It's not freedom. It's not democracy, and it's illegal. Okay, what Donald Trump is doing, every bit of it is something that uh, he should be impeached for. He should be impeached for. You cannot take away the rights of American citizens with the swipe of a pen. If that were the case, don't you think that more presidents throughout the years would have used this method? Right now, what's happening is Donald Trump has people in his ear. The Heritage Foundation and the America First organization, they're in his ear and they're saying, just do it. You're going to write this executive order and you're just going to do it. To hell with the consequences. We are going to try to get away with as much as humanly possible. And that's exactly what they're doing. And in order for people to stop this, they know that lawsuits have to be filed. And so lawsuits are being filed, right? Um, there are civil rights groups across the country that are starting these lawsuits. And thankfully, we do have those organizations because it would appear that our Democrats are too stunned to speak, apparently, with the exception of AOC. You've got Cory Booker over on his TikTok talking about, you know, I don't know, some other bullshit. Not this bullshit, but some other bullshit. Um, I told you guys in a post on a Substack that I had to delete about some books I wanted you to read. And one of those books is this one, On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. It is super tiny, this big, easy read, important to read. This book is exactly what's happening in our country right now. And I want to read to you the very first chapter. Chapter number 1 is called Do Not Obey in Advance. Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. Anticipatory obedience is a political tragedy. Perhaps rulers did not initially know that citizens were willing to compromise this value or that principle. Perhaps the new regime did not at first have the direct means of influencing citizens one way or another. After the German election of 1932, which permitted Adolf Hitler to form a government of Czechoslovak elections in 1946, where communists were victorious, the next crucial step was anticipatory obedience. Because enough people in both cases voluntarily extended their services to the new leader, Nazis and communists alike realized that they could move quickly toward a full regime change. The first heedless act of conformity could not then be reversed. Friends, there are media outlets, stores like Target and McDonald's and whoever else, all these people who are rolling back DEI because the people on the right don't like it, they're not even being, some of them aren't even being asked to do it, and yet they are doing it. Walmart, there's another, Walmart is the fucking worst, excuse my French, I'm allowed to swear here. They are obeying in advance. They are teaching this regime that if you scare people enough, they will conform to save their own lives. It is, in my personal opinion, a survival tactic. Okay, I'm going to read on a little bit. Okay. In early 1938, Adolf Hitler, by then securely in power in Germany, was threatening to annex neighboring Austria after the Austrian chancellor conceded. My God. It was the Austrians' anticipatory obedience that decided the fate of Austrian Jews. Local Austrian Nazis captured Jews and forced them to scrub the streets to remove symbols of independent Austria. Crucially, people who were not Nazis looked on with interest and amusement. Nazis who had kept lists of Jewish property stole what they could. Crucially, others who were not Nazis joined in the theft. As the political theorist Hannah Arendt, A-R-E-N-D-T, Arendt, remembered, when German troops invaded the country and Gentile neighbors started riots at Jewish homes, Austrian Jews began to commit suicide. I don't blame them. I mean, first I would try to get the fuck out, but I know why they did it. I know why they did it. The anticipatory obedience of Austrians in March of 1938 taught the high Nazi leadership what was possible. It was in Vienna that Adolf Eichmann established a central office for Jewish emigration. In November 1938, following the Austrian example of March, German Nazis organized the national pogrom known as Kristallnacht. We talked about that. Kristallnacht. In 1941, when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, the SS took the initiative to devise the methods of mass killing without orders to do so. They guessed what their superiors wanted and demonstrated what was possible. It was far more than Hitler had even thought. At the very beginning, anticipatory obedience means adapting instinctively without reflecting to a new situation. Do only Germans do such things? The Yale psychologist Stanley Milgram, contemplating Nazi atrocities, wanted to show that there was a particular authoritarian personality that explained why Germans behaved as they had. He devised an experiment to test the proposition, but failed to get permission to carry it out in Germany. So he undertook it instead in a Yale University building in 1961 at around the same time Adolf Eichmann was being tried in Jerusalem for his part in the Nazi Holocaust. Milgram told his subjects, Yale students and some New Haven residents, that they would be applying an electrical shock to other participants in an experiment about learning. In fact, the people attached to the wires on the other side of the window were on the same scheme with Milgram and only pretended to be shocked. And as the subjects thought they shocked the people they thought were participants in the learning experiment, they saw a horrible sight. People whom they did not know and against whom they had no grievance seemed to be suffering greatly, pounding the glass, complaining of heart pain. Even so, Most subjects followed Milgram's instructions and continued to apply what they thought were even greater shocks until the victims appeared to die. Even those who did not proceed all the way to the apparent killing of their fellow human beings left without inquiring about the health of other participants. Milgram grasped that people were remarkably receptive to new rules in the new setting. They are surprisingly willing to harm and kill others in the service of some new purpose if they are so instructed by a new authority. I found so much obedience, Milgram remembered, that I hardly saw the need for taking the experiment to Germany. Friends, that's the end of the chapter, by the way. It is imperative that if you see what is happening, that you do not comply or obey in advance. You fight back, you speak out, you do not stand for this dictatorial bullshit. We are a country of free people. We are a country of democracy where we elect the people via the majority, and the politicians speak on our behalf. And this is our country, and we will not hand it over to fascists. We will not. And I don't know if that means organizing in the streets, and I don't know if that means organizing at your local capitals, but you organize, goddammit, because you still have the right to the freedom of speech right now, and we should be fucking using it. Excuse me for yelling. Donald Trump needs to be impeached, and they need to file those impeachment hearings immediately. Do they have the votes? Not yet. Maybe they will. What he's doing right now might be so shocking to some Republicans that they vote with the Democrats to impeach him. And you keep on impeaching him until he is removed from office. And you show these motherfuckers that we will not back down. And you show these assholes in the Republican Party that we are not to be fucked with, and we will not shut up, and we will be the biggest, most painful thorn in their fucking sides if they try to silence us or take away our rights. So what I want you to do, friends, is I want you to read this book. Because in this book, at the very back of the book is called Be a Patriot. Set a good example of what America means for generations to come. They will need it. Let me say that again. Set a good example of what America means for generations to come, because they will need it. I don't want to ruin the book for you, so I'm not going to read on, but I want you to know that there are instructions in here. There are things to look out for. This is an instruction manual. And I need you all to watch it, or read it, or listen to it, because you can get it on Audible. In the comment section of this podcast, I want you to put your state. I want you to reach out to people in your state, blue dots. I want you to find community. One of you might have a heater if the power goes out. One of you might have extra gasoline if your generator dies. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going to need community in some of the darkest times ahead. Many of us have young children, and we have no idea how to explain to them that their carefree life may be filled with strife and worry and fighting and hiding, and I don't know what else, but I'm going to do my goddamnedest to not let it get to that point. And if that means I have to, at some point, run for office to boot out some bootlicking motherfucker, then goddamn it, I might do that, because I will not let a seat in my state go unchallenged if I'm able to stop it. And that's another issue, friends. So many seats on the Democratic side went uncontested. So many Republicans won because there was nobody there to challenge them. I don't care if you are Joe Schmo. You put your ass in that seat and you run. And I plan to be that example. If I find a seat, if nobody else is taking it, I guess I'm running for office. I don't know, because I refuse at this point to let them do this to us. So friends, find community, reach out, read On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder, and we'll be back with episode 2 after this weekend. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for hearing what I had to say. Fuck fascism. Fuck Trump. Fuck MAGA. We will not comply. See you on the flip side.